And we are live.
Welcome back to another episode of Duel Alliance with myself, Alicia Solomon, and Megan Hines, where we discuss everything the challenge. We are back to discuss episode 9. We're slowly but surely getting through these episodes, and this week it was a Fab Five against two, and honestly, the two were dominating the whole time.
See, the Fab Five, they were a group, but they didn't have a plan. And that's what their downfall was this episode. They can call themselves something, but if you don't have a plan, it's not going to work. So,
Yeah, I think that it was just a bunch of misfits going at each other, but then honestly, the one person who was trying to take control and literally trying to tell everyone what to do, that's where the problem was.
yeah. And we're going to get into this episode where we start off at a boat party, and Cache said that she was happy to be qualified for the final, but she was worried about her standing for the week with it being a women's week this time. And we got introduced to the Fab Five, which consists of Desi, Sarah, Cache, Kayla, and Justine. Um, and as like they were toasting, Angela had to say something slick because her and Alyssa are not part of the Fab Five because they just aren't. Um, she said that Sarah can call her that Sarah before Sarah can call herself fabulous, she needs to qualify for the final. Because at this point in the game, both Sarah and actually also Danny, who we'll get to later, both of them are the only people in the house who have not qualified for the final this season so far. And this is already getting us more into the Sarah and Angela rivalry even more. And I was like, listen, I get it. But Angela was like getting to mix in on Sarah this episode, and I was like laughing.
I mean, they've been going back and forth all season. I would have liked to see these two go at each other, like head to head, because I just feel like that'll be a great matchup. And hopefully it happens this season before we get to a final or whatever the case is, if we get to another women's elimination, because those two against each other, honestly, it's like I want to see who's taking off each other's head. Like, because Sarah is insane, and Angela clearly does not like this lady. And I feel like she also has an insane tactic, which, I mean, from her personal uh, tweets and how she's moved, she's definitely crazy. So I'm definitely interested to see the two crazy MAGA ladies go at each other. It's a MAGA fest. It's a MAGA war.
It is funny too because like preseason people are like, oh, Angela's the ice queen, and I'm like, she wasn't like that on Big Brother, but I see that trait of her on this show because she doesn't care. Which it makes sense in this realm, but I remember on Big Brother she wasn't that great. But she has the attitude and she's brought it with the her resume so far this season, so it is what it is. And we get more of their season long rivalry in this episode too. But first, Ben and Sarah don't know. Well, Sarah clocks Ben a little bit and said that like she knew that Ben was like attached to Angela for the past week, and she can only support him for so long because like I feel like she kind of has an inkling that some of the guys are leaning like hanging out and leaning towards Angela. But Ben said that he didn't know where Sarah really lied. Because he didn't trust what her moves are doing so far. Um, and yeah, like this is a rift between friends, but they don't know what to do with one another.
Which is weird because honestly, I mean, Sarah has been a loose cannon, not to like for this part of the season. And so I can see why Ben is trying to detach himself away from her just so that he can be safe in his own game, because it seems like being attached to her would cause problems with other people in the house. However, I just don't like how Ben flip flopped and went to a whole nother alliance with her, with Angela and Melissa, and also with the other survivor guys. Like, it's because at the beginning it was, oh, this is my ride or die, this is my number one, and now all of a sudden, you're like flipping sides, and because you qualify for the final, you have your money. Now it's just like, fuck her, she's on her own, and I'm just gonna roll over with these two girls, but you don't even know these two ladies from a fucking hole in the wall. So it's just the loyalty that Ben showed, and also, I mean, Sarah's had to basically do her own thing because she's trying to fight for her fucking life and try to win this money. But at the same time, I just don't like how Ben just automatically was switched to the other side and is just being disloyal. It's just weird to me because then that just shows you're truly not friends and as close as you say you were. Because even though Sarah's a loose cannon, you wouldn't just automatically jump ship to the other side like the way he did.
Yeah, and it's just like, look, listen, y'all, she was rocking with you early in the season, and now like when it's like it's just like you're pushing someone out who isn't part of the cool kids table. Because at this point, like it feels like Angela and Alyssa and the Survivor guys are in a cool kids table, and everybody else is just there, and it's just weird. Even though like Sarah is unbearable and a loose cannon, she deserves to at least try to win some money, but she hasn't performed as well, and she's being able to get some money in elimination. Um, so we'll see how this rest of this episode plays out. And then we go to Alyssa, just talking about Angela's plan for both of them, and the Survivor guys, as a good thing, since the other girls were against them. And Justine had told Desi respectfully, Angela gotta go. And so there is now some lines drawn in the sand a little bit, from the start, but then later on it gets kind of blurred. But I like that it is a distinct line in the sand where we see the girls noticing, like, hey, we need to plan. We need to really plan things out and try and target Angela.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they should have been on this plan way before. And as now it's an individual game, I feel like it gets a lot harder. But because they were playing in pairs for so long, it was hard for them to really target people in that manner. But when you don't have numbers against you, even though they're now in an individual game, it gets to be even harder to be like, hey, we're going to target this person. Even though it's five women against two, I think Megamind brought it up, like they didn't really come into thought that they would need to have the men on their side, and all of the men are sided with Angela and Alyssa. So it's kind of hard for them to now be a target when they're their alliances.
Yeah, like there should have been a plan enacted early in the game when we knew like Angela was a front runner. There should have been more of a situation laid out beforehand before we got to this point. Like y'all knew like Angela was being heavily protected by at least Tyson. That was her number one. And now because she's close to Tyson, we've gotten all the Survivor guys on her side, and y'all didn't do nothing about it. So we go to Dom and Danny talking about Women's Week and how it'll play out. And Danny was like, hey, I need some money so I can qualify the final because at this point, he is the guy who hasn't qualified and he's just ready to go for this next challenge. And in this next challenge, they pull up to a soccer arena, which is home to Rossi Football Club. And when they pulled up, Danny was very excited because this is like a big arena similar to a football arena where he can hear the crowd cheering, and he is using this as a motivation to get through this next challenge.
It's what did PJ call it? Racing. For me, first of all, it was racing, but I think he was pronouncing it in the way that it's pronounced in the country that they were. I'm like, Rossing? Is that a word?
Yeah, I don't know. TJ and these pronunciations be killing me though. Um, Yeah, shout out to Ozzy. But in this dating challenge, it is called Collect Four, where they're playing a big version of Connect Four, and they have to race into the seats of the stadium to find the designated tokens and bring them down to the board one by one. And the backside of the token has a black side that they could use to block other people. And the first person to connect four will win. The first person to get all blocks on theirs, they're going straight to elimination. And the first male woman who win will pick the opponent for the loser of the day. And it is a women's week, so whoever woman loses, they're going into elimination immediately. And Danny also does say that he gets the color blue, and he said it coincidentally is his father's favorite color, and his father's nickname is Blue. So he took it as a sign to really get this win for the day. And he was very much more motivated to go out and win.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The more and more I hear Danny talk, the more and more I do not want to hear him talk. Like I'm over him this whole episode. Like it's like every episode it was just, oh, Kiki said this, Kiki said that. Okay, cool. And now it's like the more and more camera time he gets, the more and more I'm like, please, sir, go home to Kiki and just get off the screen. I don't know what it is, but he's just rubbing me the wrong way.
Well, it's a lot. Like his thought process later on too. I was like, I don't get this, but you know, it is what it is. But Angela and Alyssa have a plan to block Sarah. And Angela says that Sarah didn't deserve to see the final. She didn't deserve to like win money. So hey, we're gonna make a plan off the bat to focus heavily on blocking Sarah to get her out and put her in elimination, which I get. However, you're even though she hasn't won much, she still is a great physical competitor, and she is smart. So it's not that great for her to do that, and she doesn't like y'all. Depending on who wins, she could probably put one of y'all down there, and that would have been nice to see.
Yeah, I just again, the game plan from the fact that is that they had the numbers going into it in terms of the quote unquote Fab Five, and it was funny just to see how Sarah was trying to bargain with everyone as soon as things started to hit the fan and was like, hey, Dom, she's going for me. Can you put this on black? Hey, Danny, da 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 da. And she's like literally going after every single person. And they're like, yeah, girl, whatever, shut up. So I gotta put this on my board. Like they're just like, okay, girl, whatever, moving on. And they're just literally going after what they need to go after, playing their game. And I think the funniest was Dusty, because Dusty is on her side and on her alliance essentially. And Desi was like, "Girl, I gotta play for self. Like, I gotta play for keeps at the end of the day because it's an individual game," which I completely understand, because it's like if at least one of you guys win, then you have the opportunity to kind of have to say so and who you want to put into the elimination. And I just feel like because they don't really have any men on their side, it wasn't going to help them. Like, I don't think they could really sway anyone for them to be like, hey, we need to put Angela or Alyssa in, because I feel like all of the men were up both of their asses at that point. So it was just hard for them to even have a say so in trying to put any one of them in.
Yeah. And as like even though no one was really helping her out initially, Kayla was helping out Sarah, and then eventually Cash had just like, hey, let's just help her out. But it didn't work. And then Dom had a plan on blocking David so that he could help Danny out. Um, and Danny was able to have like full reign to get his pieces on his board, and he got his final piece. Um, but it was funny too because David ended up getting blocked at one point, and it's like, okay, no, he didn't get blocked, but they've actually got it after Danny. So Dom's little plan didn't really work because if Danny had not gotten his first, David might have won. So It
Which I
didn't
would
matter.
have loved to see David win because even though David's been quiet, he's been winning here and there, but like I would want to see what his game plan would have essentially been with Desi and him because I just feel like he hasn't had much say in like being on that Angela Alyssa train and being aligned with Tyson and all those other Survivor guys. So I'm pretty sure Sarah would have got it what she wanted had David won.
Yeah, because that plan did not involve Enzo or David at all. Like because Angela saw both of them as dead weight essentially, so it didn't really break out in her favor. But Danny ended up winning, and he was happy that TJ was talking to him, and he said that Kiki was going to shed some tears since she's a fan of his. And we got our Kiki mention of the episode.
Okay, does that make any sense? It's been 9 weeks since they've been doing the show. This man has been talking to him the whole time. Now all of a sudden, he's talking to him directly. She's gonna have like she's gonna be crying and shivering and just be so ecstatic with joy. Like he's been talking to him the whole time. Like this is what I'm saying. This is get him off my screen. Like like he's so annoying at this point, bro. Like get out of here.
Like it don't make sense because like yeah he's been talking the whole time, but this is the first time he's talked to him as a winner, and he's very excited for that at least.
Okay, but then say that. Don't say this is like she's gonna be happy because he talked to me, because that's just weird shit. Like, bro, he's been talking to you the whole time. Like, what do you mean?
I don't know, like, but he qualifies for the final, and his bank is now at 6K. Um, and then Desi gets her final piece on her board, and she was like, "Hey, I'm just gonna make like you said, she was gonna make sure that she was at least safe." And now in her bank, she has 11K, and her method really worked, and I'm proud of her for that.
Yeah, I mean, she did what she needed to be done, and essentially now it's I liked her little celebration dance that she was doing on the side, but like I just want to see her succeed because like she's such a strong competitor like in this group of women that's left, and I just feel like sometimes she gets left out because those two other people are having more camera time. So I just want her to succeed and continue to win so that she's just not being left out because they will run her out of the house because they know that she probably would be beating both of them
Yeah,
if need to.
yeah, because like even on like that little duo of Alyssa and Angela, it will be more of an even field of Desi and Angela. Desi would wash Alyssa, so that's that.
Wash, dry, and fold. Okay, like it's not even competition.
Yeah. And then Tyson said that he wasn't really as pressed about Danny's threat level in the game. Now that Danny does have some money in the bank, he's not really pressed about it because Tyson still has like just a, Tyson has about the most money since Enzo from his nation last week, but Tyson has been performing on top for a while, and he's like, I'm not really pressed about Danny. I'm like, I think you should. Like, even though he hasn't really been like at the top a lot, Danny is still an ex NFL player. He still is a smart man. Like, you can't negate that.
Okay, he can't negate that. However, I do think that he does not have. If push comes to shove, they're gonna choose Tyson over Danny. So he doesn't have the numbers of people on his side. And I think that's probably where Tyson is coming from because he understands that he has numbers on his side. And even though they should be getting him out because they should have been trying to get Tyson out of the house, I don't know what was taking everyone so long. But with it being women, man eliminations coming up now, I think that that's what he needs to be concerned about because if he doesn't win and if Angela doesn't win, then it's game on for Tyson being out the house. But I do think that if push comes to shove, I'm choosing Tyson over Danny. Like, yes, he's an ex NFL player. Yes, he's, I don't know, big, but I'm not choosing Danny. I'm just not.
I'm just glad Danny doesn't have popcorn muscles, because
Okay.
people of that stature, they tend to not perform well. So yeah, that's just that on Danny. Yeah, I feel like of the Survivor guys, both of them I feel like are at least in the top. I don't really care for Dom because Dom's gonna gas out. So yeah. And then Kayla did say that she doesn't get why Alyssa and Angela were sabotaging a strong female, like I mentioned earlier, and Sarah, because literally, like I said earlier, she could literally see them in the emulation. Like, what did y'all really gain?
Wait, what?
Kayla, what I had said earlier, Kayla had said it after the challenge was that Alyssa and Angela sabotaging a strong female player could backfire essentially because they could probably end up in elimination.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, they didn't probably think about that, but I think what they thought of was they had the men on their sides. And so even though they still had, it was 2 against 5, they still had the survivor guys and one, the survivor guys won. So I don't think they were thinking about that part of the game too, because they already knew that they probably weren't going in. And it would just be needing to convince whichever woman won. Now, I feel like if Justine had won, or Kayla had won, or Sarah had won, then it's like, all right, they probably would have had no say so, and one of them was for sure going in. But because Desi had won and she was cool with Danny, that kind of just made it even better for the both of them to for their game plans.
Yeah. And Angela placed the last box piece on Sarah's board, and Sarah's officially going to the arena. Um, and when they found out, like, obviously Sarah's gonna go in, and she was like, "That just got my back," and I'm like, I just skipped with that part. I'm like, this is cringe. I'm like, why would you say that out loud in front of everybody when you could possibly not get what you want? And like, I'm here for you trying to get what you want, but expect the unexpected with the challenge. Like, you're not gonna get what you want all the time. And when she did that, I just cringed. I'm like, why would you say that out loud in front of everybody?
Yeah, that's where Sarah, she doesn't really know how to play her game, and she's literally just going off of emotions, and that just was like, all right, girl, like now you're doing a lot because now you're saying this in front of everyone that she has your back, which they already knew, but it's like the two people that you want her to go in, they're probably not going to be going in now because the men are looking at you like, yeah, girl, we're not choosing them.
Yeah. And Lissa laughed at the effort of the Fab Five to help her out. Which I'm like, okay, never mind. Sure, you survive another week, but you're you if someone else wins, you are going in elimination in the week. I'm sorry. I'm over Alyssa.
Yeah, I'm way over her, and I just cannot wait until her day comes where she's out of there.
Yeah. And Danny and Debbie have to talk with Sarah, and obviously she wanted Angela and Alyssa because of the money and also because of emotional reasons. Debbie was on board, but Danny was like, mm-mm, um, because they didn't know that he was like aligned with both of them. Um, and Danny ended up suggesting Cachet instead. And once Sarah leaves, Danny lied to Debbie about the deal and mentioned that both of them, both Debbie and Sarah, were included, quote unquote, in the proposed deal with Angela and Alyssa, but Debbie sent BS because she did not catch wind of it at all.
Which is like, if you're gonna lie on people and you gonna add somebody onto the sauce, like you need to include them beforehand, not do double duty and go back around and be like, all right, so this is what I told her, this is what the lie is. Because once you get caught in it, you're gonna have to add 5 other people into the lie. And if they're not on board with it, then what are you gonna do? You're gonna look stupid. So I just did not like the fact that he decided to lie to her in that moment. Honestly, he could have tried to play another card and just trying to save Alyssa and Angela in that moment. But honestly, he had no other hands to play because it made sense to put Alyssa in. Like at the end of the day, she was not included in their quote unquote survivor strong. Neither is Angela. So the only other person that was tethering with Angela was Tyson. And at the end of the day, you're gonna have to beat Tyson to get to the final. So I just feel like holding on to this alliance at this point, when it's in the individual game and people are not going to be looking out for people essentially coming up in the upcoming weeks, this is why I'm just like I'm over him because the lying to Desi and then trying to like double back and go to Dominic and be like, well, this is what I said to her. This is what the lie is, and we need to get so and so on board. It's like it's not gonna add up.
Yeah, no, because like, why? Like, it didn't make sense. Like, my whole thing was like, it just didn't make sense. Like, Debbie is a smart woman. She knew she didn't have a relationship with Angela. They didn't talk again. Like, if there was a big plan and y'all wanted Desi part of this, Angela would have been talking to her. And then why would Sarah be in this? Because Sarah don't like Angela. Angela don't like Sarah. That's where it lost me.
Yeah, I mean, he lost himself because Desi looked at him when he said the plan and was like, are you sure? Like, are you sure they meant me? Like, is there any other person that's named Desi in the house that you're talking about? Because I damn sure know it's not me. And it didn't make any sense.
You know. And then at the club, Alyssa tried to pull Sarah for a talk, and Sarah was not trying to hear her at all.
No, the face she made when they after she walked away was like so funny. Her face, she was just like, ugh, like whatever. And I mean, Alyssa didn't do any favors though with that conversation because she didn't even know what the hell she was talking about.
Yeah, I don't remember. To be honest, I don't remember what that conversation was. I just knew Alyssa was just throwing things at the wall. And then Dom had to have a meeting with Debbie to get her together, while Danny was trying to make the plan to pit trust between Desi, Alyssa, and Angela. And I'm like, listen, like you said, trying to bring other people into this lie, it's gonna get messy. And it's gonna backfire at some point. So, make this mess and you wanna lay in it. And
Yeah.
then Sarah tell Desi and Kayla and Cash that the guys have had control of the game and it's best to have the best of the best women go against one another in elimination, i.e., pit Angela or Alyssa in against Sarah so that y'all can take the best one of the two to the final.
Well, see, that's the thing because if uh Alyssa went into elimination against Sarah, she would have lost. Alyssa is not quote unquote the best competitor. She just has the numbers on her side. So I just feel like they could have gotten rid of one other person, and if they would have just thrown Alyssa in, to be honest. Like Angela, I can see the pushback. I can see like, all right, damn, like because if either or comes back, Sarah is gonna have like an overstated ego, which she already has. But if she beat Angela in an elimination, she's gonna go house crazy and be like a maniac. If Angela comes back and beats Sarah, now they definitely got the numbers on their side. All of them is out the house. So I feel like Alyssa would be the lesser of the two because even though she's included in that alliance, she's not gonna harm anybody if she comes back into the house like that.
Yeah. Because, like, Alyssa is all bark, no bite. So, and Cash and Danny had a talk, and Danny said he wasn't sure that Sarah can beat Angela. Um, but Cash was like making it clear that the guys are big on Angela and Alyssa, and it's crazy. And she said she didn't want to pay Sarah, so that was that.
Yeah, I mean, she's not stupid though. She basically was like, "Yeah, that sounds great, but I'm not stupid. I'm not trying to go against Sarah," which she should not want to go against Sarah because Sarah, like she said, would eat her.
Yeah. And Desi told Sarah that Plan for Angela was a no go. Danny wasn't budging. I think that's when that plan kind of like started because from what Danny tried to bring together those with her and Angelissa, I think at that point she was like, okay, no. Um, Cash, Kayla, and Justine. Now we're trying to have a plan to try and have Sarah campaign to get Alyssa in. And then Sarah was on board. She told Danny and Desi. And then again, he's like, no. I'm like, sir. And I get like, he's like, yo, like, if I put one of them in, no, if I put Sarah, if I put Alyssa in and she goes home, Angela's going to have my neck for the next week because it's going to be a men's challenge. So I don't want to do that. But I'm like, sir, you don't want to have Alyssa in this house, and you laid out obviously like reasons why, because she's not the best. She's not the best competitor in this house, to be honest. She's just using her big brother game for numbers, and that's what is helping her advance a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why he's acting scared of these two people. Like he's really running amok and being scared because he just doesn't want to offend Alyssa and Angela. And it's like, honestly, they don't have that much power to take you out. What you should be worried about is the other men that you have to go against. Like these are your people, the people that you're going to be running the final with, not these two hoes. So it's like, why are you trying to be up under their ass, trying to be so concerned about how they feel it? Like, cut it out. I did this. Is why I don't know. Like, he just turned me off this whole episode because the running around and patting to try to just sue whatever they want to do. I just didn't like that shit. Like, yes, you're an alliance, but at the end of the day, those numbers are going to be cut. Y'all all are not going to make it to the end. So you might as well start playing the game for yourself because at the end of the day, you're going to be going straight on to Kiki and these hoes is going to be winning the game. So I don't get it.
I don't know. And then like an hour before elimination, Danny was like kind of pissed off because he's kind of stormed away from the guys. He's like, what's they're like, what's wrong? Like, we don't have a decision. And I'm like, what? And he had to ask Don, like, what would happen if we had a disagreement and what are the rules about what would happen if there would be a tie? And I kind of would have liked it to be a tie, um, but we didn't get that. Um, we go to the arena, and obviously it's the first women's elimination this season, and they decide who goes against Sarah. Danny said for his game, it was best to put in Cachet. And this is where I was like, okay, Desi, put in Alyssa. And so we can see how a tie would probably go out. But
Right.
Desi's like, no. She agreed. She like took it as a long decision, hard decision. But I'm gonna go with Cachet as well.
Which I was like, I wish she would have went with Alyssa too, but she was like in her confessional, she just want to bite her tongue and just try to get to the final. And it's like, just somebody stand up. Like, why y'all all weak in the knees? Like, just somebody, just, at least one of y'all stand up and put this girl in because y'all know she's going to be like, Sarah would tear that girl apart. And it's like, y'all just putting in cachet. I feel like, if anything, Cachet would have made it easier for y'all to in the end because if Cachet is there, y'all know y'all all beating Cachet in the final. Like, so she's one of the easier numbers that y'all could have just had skated right through. She probably would have gotten herself out of the house some way, shape, or form eventually, or you could have just kept her there and tried to get to the final. And now you got Sarah coming back into the house. You got Angela, and you still got Alyssa. It's like y'all not making any sense.
No, and you always need a good layup in the final. And Cachet is that. That's not Alyssa. I'm sorry. Like I would rather take Cachet to the final than Alyssa. That's just me.
I, yeah, I would too.
Even though Cachet can't swim, I would still take her.
That's even better because you know there's gonna be water in the final. So
Yeah.
she's gonna be having a hard time and you're gonna go steam past her at the end of the day. So I just feel like that'll be an easier bet than going against one of those other two.
Yeah, but but it is interesting too. I didn't listen to the whole episode, but Desi was on the challenge pod with Davon and Devin. But I got the gist of it because like a lot of it was talking about Cache and Cinco. Um, I think part of that reasoning of Cache going in was the personal stuff that happened that the people didn't see um, on screen. So yeah,
Well, yeah, there's that. We do know from the whole scandal with Tiffany happened and who was saying what behind the scenes and things like that. And I think that also, I guess, with Desi and Cinco flirting with each other because Desi supposedly had a man the whole time. So I don't want to say anything that she probably was not doing in the house, but I mean, it was clear that her and Cinco were flirting a little bit with each other. They were throwing a little chemistry with each other when they were paired up together. So I mean, again, and all of this for Cinco is just funny to me. Like y'all need to find somebody else to
yeah.
get y'all like get y'all here in a bunch over. Like damn, like
I
him.
will. I will say too, that she in the clip that I did see, she did say that Cache really had smoke for basically all the black girls that were liking Cinco. She had smoke for Tiffany, she had smoke for Desi, she had smoke for Justine, which we now know both seasons what happened with both Justine and Cinco. But it's just funny that Cash was very up in arms um, with all the girls over that man. So
I get it because they had just literally broke up like a month and a half prior, but it's like, girl, come on. It's either you getting over this man or you not. Like you can't fight every person that he's going to be with essentially. Like I just don't get it.
yeah. But if that just Cache is going against Sarah, and this nation is called In a Row, where both of the ladies will spin a giant steel wheel to unravel a 300-foot rope and pull the ball towards them. The first to do so twice will win. And both of them are very confident in this because Sarah was the runner, Cache was the runner. So it was going to be kind of even killed with this elimination.
Child, even kill in what world? Come on now. Let's be real.
Well, in the first round, Sarah was going in off the bat, but Cache could barely get a good start. She was just ready to place until she finally got the prism to start rolling the wheel. Um, but yeah, I was just laughing at Cache start because that was just hilarious.
It was just struggle city, and I get it. Like Cashay's gonna put her all into it, her effort. Like she's gonna go all at it. However, she said it. Sarah is going to eat her, and that's exactly what she did. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it is what it is.
And Sarah got the football to her side first in the first round, so it's now 1-0 Sarah. In the second round, both of them started at a good pace to start and throughout. But Sarah got the ball once again, and now Sarah wins the elimination.
And now we have uh, Sarah coming back in to the house to deal with Angela and Alyssa once again. I mean, again, the whole putting Cachet in just didn't make any sense. But regardless, they got another number out in Cachet, and now that's another win for Alyssa and Angela and that whole cruise alliance because now one of theirs is already gone. So I don't know how Desi's gonna like turn out in the future and what how she's going to be moving because that also is like gonna isolate her coming up.
Yeah, the Fab Five is done, like Sarah said, because that wasn't going to help them at all. And in her last confessional of the season, um, Cache said that she was much more than her heartbreak. As her parting message, talked about a little bit of her in the single, but she also did say that she did learn some things about herself in this season. And T does it. I hope to see you back in the future. If Patrick comes back on any iteration of the show, she needs to get her weight up and not focus on the man.
Period. And I also don't want to see Cinco and her back on the same show. Please, like, give it a rest, give it a break. I'm over it. It's just the storyline was cute for 1 to 2 episodes, and then it got old real quick. So I do hope that she's able to find whatever she needs to out of the show, and hopefully, if she, I don't even know if I want to see her again. To be honest, like I was just over her. But I mean, if she does come back, hopefully she's learned to keep her love, just keep it separate. Like I guess I understand she was on Love Island, but at the end of the day, this is the challenge, and your romantic relationships are just gonna mess you up. That's just the end of it.
Yep. And now Sarah has 10K in her bank, and now everybody moving forward has now qualified to run the final.
I wonder when the final's gonna start because everybody could qualify to run the final. Somebody got to go.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like we have probably at least a few more nations, and then when because like now, how many people is it? It's Sarah, it's Tyson, Angela, Alyssa, Justine, Dom, Kayla, Desi,
David.
Danny, and Enzo.
Hmm.
I feel like it might be a few more, like probably at least two or three
Probably
more
like two more.
eliminations.
So like it's a men elimination coming up next week. It'll probably be one more men's elimination and one more women's elimination, and then they'll probably start getting to the final from there.
Yeah. So we're at least at the exposition point of the season.
Yeah.
All right, and now we're gonna get into some of these tweets from this episode. Let me just pull them up real quick. Oh, right there. Yes, we don't fit. There's a lot of good tweets. I had a laugh. The first one was Sarah and Angela have the same personality. That's why they don't get along.
That's facts. That
Yeah.
is facts.
We have one that is more hyper animated, and the other that is sneaky. Well, trying to be sneaky, but yeah, Angela just outsmarted Sarah, but they both are the same. And the next one is I'm sorry to say that since Tiff left, Sarah has been carrying the show when it comes to drama entertainment. That woman is insane. And it's true. Like, we haven't had much other drama or mess happening, and Sarah has been providing that, even in all her maggots.
That is actually facts. Like the fact that she's carrying the drama on the show is sick. Like, yeah,
And the next one is how does Cache make her leaving about single? Like, girl.
when that's all you have, that's all you gonna say.
Yeah. You came in with him, and you're gonna leave by yourself, but you're gonna leave with a lesson from him. And the last one is, bruh, how did two women essentially beat five other women and connect four? The Fab Five aren't so fab. And like I said, there wasn't a plan made from the Fab Five when I started the challenge because even like Kayla had said it, like once like they knew like what the challenge was, nobody had made eye contact. So she was like, I don't know what's about to happen, but and that's was the start of the downfall of Fab Five in the challenge.
That's true because Kayla was like trying to look for eye contact with anyone and nobody was paying attention. And she was just like, all right, well, I guess we just gonna be out here just getting it for ourselves. And that's exactly what happened. And then she was the only person trying to help Sarah until towards the end, and they realized, shit, like now we have to help her because at first they were all ignoring her. So it is what it is. At least Kayla shows that she's a true ride or die, and that she gonna have your back regardless of what's going on.
Yeah. And that's all the tweets from this week.
Yes, and we are finally towards the end, close of this show. I mean, we still have a ways to go, but we're getting closer and closer to the final. Everyone seems to be qualified, so now it's just who gets to the final. And I just wish that Justine will get to the finals because she's the only person that I'm wholeheartedly rooting for still in this present moment. So we'll see how that goes. But thank you guys for listening. We will be back next week to discuss more of the challenge. You can follow our Twitter page at Dual Alliance Pod on Twitter. You can follow our personal pages. Megan's page is at Meg Some Hines.
Alicia is at ace_s5.
And you can follow our YouTube page where you can watch or listen to this episode on YouTube, Dual Alliance Pod. And we'll be back next week. Happy holidays. Have a good week, weekend, whenever you listen to this, and be well. Bye.
Bye.